What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream interview of Mikasa on Mikasa Sukasa, and I am your host, Niko House. Today, I have a very special guest, somebody who is running out of Houston, right? Is it Houston?
Yes, sir. District
Yeah,
18.
Houston. The big old Houston 18 in Texas. I got with me Stephen Rosco. What is going on, Stephen? How you doing, man?
Peace. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I can't complain, but I heard, things ain't really been all that great for you over there. It's probably a little bit confusing. So,
Yeah.
you on your Facebook posted a crazy story, which I interpreted as, and of course, I want you to elaborate, whereas
Mm-hmm.
basically you were endorsed by a local Our Revolution chapter. You were
Mm-hmm.
giving a speaking spot at the Our Revolution convention, and
Mm-hmm.
then you were removed from the speaking spot for your competition.
Yes.
Okay, you got
That's
to break that
pretty
down. Break
much.
that down, please.
Okay, so here in Houston we have Harris County, our revolution. Harris County is a county that has population size larger than 25 other states around the country. And we are leading in a lot of things when it comes to electoral politics. You might have seen the news that came out in 2018, where all the judges that were up for election during this past 2018 session was all Black women won during a blue
Wow.
wave. So we have a special thing going on in Houston that not a lot of people know, that there's a progressive movement that's happening through social justice organizing over the past 4 years. So after the 2016 election, Bernie's Our Revolution just mantra became an organization that, from what I know, passed down all the email lists from the campaign down to folks so they could continue to organize for the future coming revolution in electoral politics. And there's several chapters in the area. The one that I have been doing some of the work with, as far as getting to know, is the local Harris County chapter. And since I decided to run, they were one of the organizations that I decided to reach out to for interest in endorsements, because for me, endorsements mean more about which organizations am I associated myself with. So, organizations like Sunrise Movement, Democratic Socialists of America, who we are endorsed by with the local DSA. So I did the process with our revolution here, Harris County, and we got the endorsement early in January. And
Good
then
stuff.
I was told that the following week they were going to have a summit, that Our Revolution National is doing this tour around the country, this Our Revolution Summit in every city. I believe they're in Denver, Colorado today, and they're just gathering all their local chapters and just preparing everybody. So you go to this summit and they have spray painted images of Green New Deal, Medicare for all these
All the things
progressive,
associated with our
all things,
revolution.
and they have spray painted images of Bernie Sanders, being that he's the inspiration behind the movement. So I was invited to speak at the summit. They asked me if I could go speak on February 1st, which was a Saturday. And then, I was getting ready for that. But the night before, and this is after they already sent out emails preparing everybody for the summit, and my name was listed in one of the speakers list. And then the night before, I was just told, hey, we, due to time constraints, we're gonna go ahead and have to drop you. So I was like, okay, I understand. I'm not gonna put a big fight. I understand how it goes. They got a 2 hour event space that they're using, so I understand how that could work out.
But I
But
do
then I
have a
was,
question. So you're running for U.S. Congress.
yes, yes.
I mean, if you're running for U.S. Congress and you're representing our revolution, and you're coming out of Houston, which I would imagine Bernie Sanders needs to win if he's going to win
Hmm.
Texas, I feel like you should make that damn time constraint a little less constrained, in my humble opinion. I don't, you
Um,
know.
I try to work with folks where they at, and not where I want them to be. So I just left it alone. But then I got word, because this whole time I'm talking about this, I haven't mentioned who I'm running against. The 25-year incumbent Sheila Jackson Lee, who has been, a powerhouse as far as Houston local politics. Every corner that you go to that has political work and organizing, she has somebody who either worked for her or still works for her.
Mm.
And so I was told that Saturday, while I was at a caucus meeting working on their endorsements, because I was going to be bouncing between the two places the same day, and she was there as well. But then I was told later on, I was texted that she was actually at the Art Revolution Summit. So I went ahead and got into a car. I went straight there just to kind of
Pulled up
see
on
what's
him.
going.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I walked in while she was giving a big rousing speech, and I was confused because she was on the speakers list. And
Now,
she's
was she at least endorsed by our revolution?
no, she hasn't been endorsed. Now
Well,
she's
somebody's
standing at
confused.
she's standing on the podium, and she has like all these folks on the around her holding those signs, the signs with the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, forgive student loans, and as well as the image of Bernie. And the thing about the congresswoman is that she hasn't been a vocal Bernie supporter. Matter of fact, during the 2016 election, she was, you know show not, I want to say, chaperoning around Hillary Clinton to all the spaces. So, you
Mm.
know, it's she's not known to be associated with the progressive voices. So whenever there's new progressive legislation introduced by AOC and Ilhan Omar and Bernie and them, she's never like at those press conferences with them to support those kinds of policies. So I was confused. But I quickly learned that I believe the
Just
gentleman's
as a caveat, not only did she not support Bernie in 2016, she said black women favor Hillary Clinton over Obama in 2008.
oh wow, see,
So
I didn't
yeah,
even know about that.
they go back for a while, and when you just consider the fact she's so loyal to Hillary Clinton, and which would usually mean conversely that she has no love for Bernie, that's
Right.
even more peculiar.
And she has a very close relationship with Nancy Pelosi as well. She follows a lot with Nancy Pelosi, and actually, Nancy Pelosi, I believe she has either children or grandchildren that live in Houston. So Nancy actually frequents in Houston, and they hang out. That's their, the
Wow.
relationship extends beyond work. But I was just confused. I learned very quickly that the Our Revolution Texas chapter proposed this move, and National went along with it. And the local Harris County chapter voiced out that this wasn't right, that we were, that I
Mm.
am the endorsed candidate, and that this would look bad on the overall organization. But they went ahead with it
So
anyways.
so to clarify, what you're saying is, so the Texas Our Revolution had a problem with it. Your local county who endorsed you had a problem with it. So somebody from Our Revolution National went over both of their heads in your state to make this happen.
National and Texas were together on this.
Oh, so national and tech. Okay, okay, got you. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure
so
because
so I
it
believe
sounded like you said.
the gentleman's name is Jim Hightower, who introduced Sheila at the event, and apparently they go way back. And so Jim Hightower seems to be like the guy for the Texas Art Revolution. And then there was the executive director who brushed me off there. His name is Joseph. So local Harris County, they stood by me. They released a statement the next day, and they didn't agree with the move, and they did believe that that move was damaging to what our revolution stands for, especially since it's feeding off of the Bernie Sanders movement from 2016, and it's associating itself with folks who are not known to be progressive. And it's hopefully something that can be corrected and addressed as we move forward, because as an activist and political organizer, we've always seen this, how close can establishment folk stand next to progressive figures and talking points, so they can at least look progressive and get that progressive vote and support, but not necessarily be a loud advocate for progressive values. And that's definitely a way to look at this entire situation with the congresswoman and what her career has stood for.
Yeah, and Jim Hightower. So he did endorse Bernie in 2016, which is likely how he got that position.
Mm-hmm.
But and I don't know if Jim Hightower is necessarily a part of the national level conversation, but I imagine that he probably wouldn't push back, because they could just remove him if they chose to.
Right.
Um, but it's just interesting that somebody who endorsed Bernie would allow somebody who literally, I mean, just be frank, was endorsing Hillary, who just once again has no love for Bernie Sanders or the movement, was not endorsed by, like, you were the director of Our Revolution Texas, and y'all didn't endorse her. So
Mm-hmm.
why is she giving such a riveting speech? And then why, of course, are you playing along and introducing her? And then
Right.
once again, you gotta really point back at the national level.
Mm-hmm.
And so for everybody who doesn't know, Nina Turner used to be the president of Our Revolution at the national level, but of course she had to step down in order to support Bernie Sanders as his national co-chair of his 2020 campaign. However, we haven't really um, it sounds like they've been kind of not inactive, because clearly they just had a convention, but we haven't really seen any groundbreaking moves from Our Revolution basically since Nina Turner has stepped down. And it could be because of somebody at the top just kind of stepping in when you have brilliant progressive like Stevens and Orozco, getting shut out. That could have been a speech that's been all over social media and galvanized Texans to not only get
Mm-hmm.
out there and vote for hopefully future Congressman Orozco, but also Bernie Sanders in Texas. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were just bragging about this man not even a week ago, like, yo, he might win this thing. And then it's just
Right.
really coincidental that, and of course, if he wins it, if you're the candidate most closely associated with him, generally
Mm-hmm.
how that works is you win,
Right.
right? And so now, because people, hopefully the smart ones won't associate them together, but
Mm-hmm.
now because people have seen Sheila speaking at that Our Revolution convention, running in that exact same district,
Right.
she's going to be associated with the man who could very well win Texas and
Right.
stop, one of Bernie Sanders' people from getting in there and seeing those policies pushed.
Right. It's an optics game, and that's really what it's been. It's an optics game, and I've learned, and I respect the Congresswoman's history here in Houston. 25 years and for Congress. Before that, 2 terms in City Council. She is an institution here, and like I said earlier, political circles here are small. You go to all these different political events, you see the same faces. Everybody that are part of these local nonprofits, state nonprofits, even national nonprofits, they all know each other. They're all connected with each other. And here in Houston, specifically in Texas, you bump into a lot of them who over the past 25 years have either worked for her as an aide, as an intern, or just, in general work with her through their own organizations, and their bosses have been. So it's not a surprise to me. It's not a shock to me. It's been an unpeeling of like how all these connections have revealed itself, especially over the past month and a half, because this is where all the endorsements have begun to like come out, like all the screenings. They send you this questionnaire, you fill it out, you spend like, a good chunk of time filling out these questionnaires because they ask very specific questions. Then you send it back, and then you wait for that, screening day for the interview. You do the screening date, maybe it takes about 45 minutes to talk with them, and then the next day, oh no, it's already hers, because it's just the formality of the process, because everybody in this political circles know each other, and they protect each other, and
Yeah.
they work with each other. So
And it's
that's why
not
they call
limited
it
to Texas.
establishment.
I can tell you that it's not limited
Yeah.
to Texas. That's just what we're dealing with across the nation. So what has been your next move? What's next for you?
Well, I mean, the next move for us is just now we're focusing on early voting that starts this Tuesday. Is going to be from the 18th to the 28th, and then the Super Tuesday primary. We've been running since March 4th last year when we launched the website and announced. So it will be pretty much a full 365 days that we've been running this grassroots campaign. We haven't
That's
taken any
awesome.
money from PACs or super PACs or special interests. We're averaging about $17.50 per individual donation. And we've just been doing the grassroots level, volunteers, students, high school students, college students, working class folks that have all been pitching in, sharing. We just got a feature in the Chronicle as far as this race itself, because it has a total of 7 candidates. She's being challenged by 5 other people besides myself, and
Whew.
this is the most challenges that she has ever had in a primary. So we
And
have
you're
a
the
good
one who got the
opportunity.
endorsement from our revolution.
Yeah, and as well as the Democratic Socialists of America Houston chapter. Me and her are the only 2 candidates with endorsements. The other candidates don't have any endorsements that I know of up to this point from the updated
Mm,
information. The other candidates either have funded themselves $50,000 or have raised over $30,000, $40,000 from special interest, healthcare or real estate gentrification type of industries, and so it's been like everybody's been trying to get their opportunity to run for Congress, but we have follow the model of a grassroots campaign that's just taking small dollar donations, grassroots, working class level. And from what we've heard, we are the one that has the most reason to be concerned, because we're most progressive, and we're the ones that are advocating for these progressive values since we launched. And as of November 14th, very quietly, Congresswoman signed on to support the Green New Deal resolution. So we know we've been very effective.
Well, I mean, that's a achievement in and of itself. So, well, I'll tell you like this, just from personal experience. If they're coming after you, if they're trying to silence you, it must mean you're doing something right. I'll tell you
Right.
that. So,
Yeah.
just so the audience can know, because we do have a lot of people from Texas that actually watch. Where can people donate to you, and where can they sign up to volunteer for
Mm.
you to help get your message to the greater Houston area?
Most definitely. Well, I mean, our website has all the connections to everything. It's orozco2020.com. So it's my last name, OROZCO 2020.com. You have all the links to all the social media there, and you'll be able to follow us as we like put up events for more block walking, canvassing. We have the poll watching stuff that we're gonna be doing, just having folks standing 250 feet away from the polls, handing out information as people early
Make sure
vote.
you mention that. All right,
Yeah,
posters with 250
yeah,
feet.
yeah. You want to, because the congresswoman, this is the first time that she's ever had to really campaign in her entire career. She's only had two primary challenges in the past,
Wow.
and but those ones she won handily. This one she has raised over $500,000, and she has put people to work. She has in the past 2 months hired folks out of poor black and brown neighborhoods, saying like, hey, we're gonna pay you X amount of dollars per hour. Make sure you just
Yeah.
stand in this place, wear our shirt, and all that. So some of our folks during some of these encounters have actually asked some of the congresswoman's campaign staff, like, hey, what issues do you really like about that she supports? And they really weren't able to answer anything. And these are just folks that are hired to like have a job. And
Yeah.
and we understand that that's how the establishment works. They have the budget to be able to pay people to do the job, to do the work. But we're the ones that have the volunteer base and support, who know the issues, are passionate about the issues, who are educating people as they talk about the campaign. And that's the biggest difference. And we're very proud of where we've been so far. So if you follow us at rosco2020.com, and just sign up for volunteering list, and as we do some of these upcoming events for the early vote and get out the vote in general, we'll see what kind of dent we make into this, because you never know. Bernie wave might come and we may be into a runoff, and it's a whole different story for 2 more months.
Hey, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. So Rosco2020.com, everybody. Make sure you go support and go donate. Appreciate you coming on and telling us that story. Hopefully more people can hear it. And so they can kind of, I'm just, like you said, our revolution is doing this all over the country.
Mm,
This tour all over the country. So we want to make sure that our progressive allies are protected and prepared for what may come their way. Everybody knows, just because the organization itself is meant to be altruistic, that does not mean everybody in that organization to help run it is. So you got to be
mm.
prepared for anything. So I appreciate you telling that story and just like kind of forewarning other people. And for everybody else, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.